NewGen IVF Group Limited subsidiary, NewGenDigital Limited, has secured a strategic plot of land in Ras Al Khaimah's Beach District, UAE, marking a significant step in its $45 million investment initiative in the UAE real estate market. The company is exploring the potential of real-world asset, RWA tokenization, a process that converts physical assets into digital tokens on blockchain platforms. This initiative is part of NewGenDigital's broader strategy to leverage blockchain technology for asset digitization, potentially enhancing liquidity, enabling fractional ownership, and facilitating global trading of real estate assets. The land acquisition aligns with the UAE's strategic focus on blockchain, bolstered by regulatory frameworks such as Dubai's Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, VARA, making the region an attractive hub for digital asset innovation. The strategic location of the 110,400 square feet beachfront plot, coupled with Ras Al Khaimah's thriving property market, and the upcoming opening of the Win Al Marjan Island Integrated Resort, positions NewGenDigital to capitalize on regional growth. The projected sales revenue from the real estate project exceeds $400 million, underscoring the potential financial impact. However, the tokenization initiative will require regulatory approval from both UAE and U.S. authorities, including the SEC, as NewGenDigital navigates the complex regulatory landscape surrounding digital assets. This move reflects NewGen's commitment to integrating cutting-edge digital asset opportunities with traditional real estate, potentially setting a precedent in the RWA tokenization space.
NIP Group Inc., NASDAQ. NIPG, a prominent player in the digital entertainment sector, has announced a strategic acquisition to venture into Bitcoin mining, signaling its entry into the digital infrastructure domain. The company has entered into an asset purchase agreement to acquire crypto mining machines from Fortune Peak Limited and Apex Cyber Capital Limited, which will add a hash rate capacity of 3.11 exahashes per second (EHS). This move is expected to generate approximately 60 bitcoins monthly, contributing significantly to NIPG's revenue stream. The acquisition will be financed through the issuance of over 119 million Class A ordinary shares, with the transaction anticipated to close by September 30, 2025, pending customary conditions. By establishing a dedicated digital computing division, NIP Group aims to leverage its new computing capabilities to support future ventures in high-performance computing, HPC, and artificial intelligence, AI-driven entertainment services. This expansion marks a strategic pivot for NIPG, traditionally rooted in gaming and esports, as it seeks to diversify its operations and capitalize on emerging technological opportunities. The integration of substantial compute power aligns with NIPG's long-term vision to drive innovation and deliver value to its global stakeholders, while concurrently strengthening its position in the rapidly evolving digital infrastructure landscape.
Gold prices in New Delhi have rebounded, snapping a 7-day losing streak with a notable rise of 1,200 rupees to 98,670 rupees per 10 grams. This increase is attributed to renewed buying interest from stockists, aligning with strong global trends. The All India Sarafa Association reported that gold of 99.9% purity had previously settled at 97,470 rupees per 10 grams. The global spot gold market also saw an uptick, with prices rising by 44 United States dollars and 1 cent, or 1.33%, to 3,346 United States dollars and 92 cents per ounce, driven by a retreat in the U.S. dollar amid concerns over the U.S. fiscal deficit and potential new tariffs on Japan proposed by President Donald Trump. The market sentiment for gold remains buoyant due to expectations of sustained dollar weakness and upcoming key U.S. economic data releases, including non-farm payrolls and unemployment figures. Additionally, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's commentary is anticipated to influence future movements in gold prices as investors seek cues on the interest rate trajectory. Parallelly, silver prices also experienced a surge, climbing by 2,000 rupees to 104,800 rupees per kilogram, reflecting a broader trend of increased demand for precious metals as safe haven assets amidst inflation concerns.
Adidas reported a robust performance in the second quarter of 2024, with currency-neutral revenues rising by 11% year-over-year, driven by a strong underlying business growth of 16%. The sale of remaining Yeezy inventory contributed approximately €200 million to revenues, although this was significantly lower than the €400 million generated in the same period last year. Despite this, Adidas achieved a 9% increase in euro-denominated revenues, reaching €5.822 billion, although currency fluctuations had an unfavorable impact. The company saw notable growth in its footwear segment, with a 17% increase in currency-neutral terms, bolstered by strong sales in originals and football categories, and apparel sales rose by 6%, largely due to successful jersey sales tied to major football events like UEFA Euro 2024. Adidas operating profit surged to €346 million, reflecting an operating margin of 5.9%, up from 3.3% in the previous year. This improvement was despite a reduced contribution from the Yeezy line, which added €50 million to operating profit compared to €150 million last year. The company also reported a gross margin of 50.8%, slightly down due to the smaller Yeezy business. Although excluding Yeezy, the margin improved by 1.5 percentage points. Marketing expenses increased by 15% to support global campaigns and major sports events, while operating overheads decreased by 2% due to non-recurring expenses in the prior year. Adidas net income from continuing operations more than doubled to €211 million, with basic EPS rising to €1.09, indicating a strong financial recovery and strategic execution.
Greif Inc., a prominent player in the industrial packaging sector, has entered into a definitive agreement to sell its containerboard business, including the CoreChoice Sheet Feeder Network, to Packaging Corporation of America for $1.8 billion in an all-cash transaction. This sale, which is anticipated to close by the end of fiscal year 2025 pending regulatory approvals, is part of Greif's build-to-last strategy aimed at optimizing its portfolio, enhancing capital efficiency, and focusing on strategic growth priorities. The proceeds from the transaction will primarily be used to reduce Greif's debt, targeting a pro forma leverage ratio below 2.0x, thereby strengthening the company's financial position and providing greater flexibility in capital allocation. This divestiture represents a strategic pivot for Greif, allowing the company to concentrate on its core packaging solutions, which promise margin expansion and increased cash flow generation. By reallocating capital from the containerboard business and the planned sale of its timberland assets, Greif intends to unlock immediate value for shareholders and foster long-term growth opportunities. The transaction is expected to reduce recurring capital needs and improve earnings durability, aligning with Greif's objective to enhance shareholder value through more profitable and capital-efficient operations. Goldman Sachs served as the exclusive financial advisor for this transaction, and Greif's management plans to further discuss this strategic shift in an investor call scheduled for July 1, 2025.
D-Wave Quantum Inc., NYSE, QBTS, a pioneer in the quantum computing sector, has successfully completed a $400 million at-the-market ATM equity offering. This program, which ran from June 11th to June 27th, saw shares sold at an average price of $15.18, marking a significant 149% premium over the $6.10 average price from a similar $150 million program earlier in the year. The substantial capital raised through this offering increases D-Wave's cash reserves to approximately $815 million, providing the company with a robust financial foundation for future growth and innovation in quantum computing technology. The successful completion of this ATM program underscores investor confidence in D-Wave's strategic direction and its potential in the burgeoning quantum computing market. The premium pricing achieved during this offering reflects strong market sentiment and the growing interest in quantum computing solutions, which are increasingly seen as critical for advancing computational capabilities across various industries. This influx of capital is expected to bolster D-Wave's research and development efforts, potentially accelerating the commercialization of its quantum technologies and enhancing its competitive position in a rapidly evolving market.
Goldman Sachs has revised its European conviction list, reflecting strategic shifts in its investment outlook, by adding Ingroep, LVMH and Atlas Copco, while removing BNP Paribas, Rio Tinto, Volvo, Flughafen Zurich and Fresenius Medical Care. This update signals Goldman's confidence in the potential of these companies to benefit from evolving market conditions. Group is expected to capitalize on German fiscal expansion, with projections for its return on tangible equity to increase from 13% in 2024 to 15% by 2027, driven by improvements in net interest income and asset growth. LVMH is favored due to its potential to thrive in the recovering luxury market, particularly with anticipated demand rebounds in China and the U.S. by 2026. Atlas Copco's inclusion is based on its strong return on capital and the potential for a special dividend, as well as expectations for order recovery driven by U.S. reshoring and semiconductor trends. The performance of the conviction list was mixed in June, with EQT AB and Prosus achieving gains, while Zalando SE, AstraZeneca, and Novo Nordisk faced declines due to sector-specific challenges. Goldman Sachs continues to advocate for diversification beyond U.S. markets, highlighting improved European fundamentals and valuation opportunities. The bank emphasizes sectors such as banking, telecommunications, and those benefiting from fiscal policies as attractive investment areas, underscoring a strategic pivot towards European markets in response to broader economic forecasts and market trends.
Steel Dynamics Inc., NASDAQ, STLD, has achieved a significant milestone by obtaining Global Steel Climate Council (GSCC) product certification for all its steel mills, aligning with the Paris Climate Agreement's 1.5 degrees Celsius scenario. This certification, validated by third-party verifier KERAMIDA, underscores the company's commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions across Scope 1, Scope 2, and upstream Scope 3 categories. The GSCC's Steel Climate Standard offers a transparent, technology-neutral framework for assessing emissions, facilitating informed decision-making for consumers seeking lower-carbon steel products. This achievement positions Steel Dynamics as a leader in sustainable steel production, with its emissions intensity already among the industry's lowest. The certification is a strategic move for Steel Dynamics, enhancing its reputation and market positioning as environmental considerations gain prominence among investors and consumers. By meeting and surpassing its greenhouse gas emissions targets ahead of schedule, the company not only strengthens its sustainability credentials, but also potentially attracts environmentally conscious buyers and investors. This development could influence market sentiment positively, potentially impacting the company's stock performance as it aligns with broader industry trends towards sustainability and carbon reduction. The company's ongoing investments in aluminum operations further diversify its product offerings, indicating a robust strategy to meet evolving market demands.
Apellis Pharmaceuticals has entered into a royalty purchase agreement with Swedish orphan Biovitrum AB, Sobi, to secure up to $300 million in non-dilutive funding. This deal involves Apellis receiving an upfront payment of $275 million, with an additional $25 million contingent upon the European Medicines Agency's approval of Aspaveli, systemic pegcetacoplan, for treating rare kidney diseases, specifically C3 glomerulopathy, C3G, and primary immune complex membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis, ICMPGN. Under the agreement, Apellis will transfer 90% of its future ex-US royalties for Aspaveli to Sobi until a certain cap is met, after which full royalties will revert to Apellis. Apellis retains full commercialization rights in the US, where the drug is marketed as EMPAVELI. This strategic partnership, originating from their 2020 collaboration, highlights the potential of Aspaveli, EMPAVELI, to transform treatment paradigms for rare diseases. The drug is already approved for paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobinuria, PNH, and is under regulatory review for C3G and ICMPGN, with decisions pending from both the EMA and the US FDA. The agreement leverages Sobi's commercial capabilities and expertise in rare diseases to expand Aspaveli's global reach, while strengthening Apellis' balance sheet and enhancing its operational flexibility as it approaches sustainable profitability. This collaboration aims to address unmet needs in rare disease therapeutics, potentially driving significant growth and expanding patient access to these critical therapies worldwide.
Barex Group plc, a global financial services platform listed on Nasdaq under the ticker MRX, has completed the acquisition of Hamilton Court Group, a specialist in foreign exchange (FX) services. This strategic acquisition aligns with Morex's objective to diversify its earnings and enhance its FX capabilities, marking a significant expansion in its service offerings. The integration of Hamilton Court Group brings approximately 170 employees into Morex, with operations in major financial hubs such as London, Milan, Madrid, and Toronto. This move is expected to strengthen Morex's market position by incorporating Hamilton Court's expertise and expanding its liquidity, market access, and infrastructure services. Morex's enhanced capabilities in the FX domain will provide more comprehensive solutions to its clients, which include major commodity producers, banks, and asset managers. Additionally, the acquisition may improve Morex's competitive edge in the financial markets and potentially boost its stock performance, further supported by its recent inclusion in the Russell 3000 registered index, increasing its visibility among institutional investors.